Hey there, fun food fans. It's Karen Ricks, head chef here at our kitchen classroom. And I am joined today by our chef de partie.
Yes.
My husband, Dave. We are back here in the Balkans. We are in Albania, and we are out today on our balcony this evening. And we have been really enjoying trying some new snacks, haven't we? It's not something that we always do, but recently we've discovered a few new and interesting flavors and varieties. So I thought we'd just hop on a quick video and share some of those with you today. So here in Albania, we have a few of the same brands and some of the same flavors even as the last video that I shared with you when our little Sue and I were tasting some different snacks that we found in North Macedonia. So why don't we start with a similar brand that we found, but a different product. These are Clipsies. This was one of the brands that we played with before. This one, though, is a sour cream bugle. It literally says Bugles there on the package. So one of the things that we're really enjoying is finding some kinds of, familiar shapes or flavors, but it's usually not necessarily two together in the same kind of combination, right?
Right. The thing is, what you'll find around here is that, well, for example, we're not trying them tonight, but there's a lot of local brands that just have their own little twist on things. So you can buy Doritos if that's your thing, but also right next to them is I guess a regional brand you might call, they're called Patos.
Yeah.
Which, honestly, I'll be honest with you, I prefer them more than I do the locally produced Doritos.
And that's usually because they have a different formulation in different countries than the things that we're familiar with in the United States.
Right.
So, like, the packaging and the name might look familiar, but the flavor isn't necessarily. So that's another one of the reasons that it's fun for us to try some of these new snacks and new to us variations. So we're gonna start with the sour cream bugles. There you go. And these look just like, I was going to say, this is what I always used to do with bugles too, right?
But unfortunately, these are a little too flat, man.
They are. They're not really round enough to stick on your finger.
Now up.
Hold on, this one might be. Oh, no, I broke it. Let me see if I can get one more possibility. This is the kind of stuff that really makes it nostalgic, right? Being able to do the stuff you did as a kid. Here we go. Ha ha! There we go. So most of them are kind of squished flat, but this one I found was round enough for me to be able to stick it on my finger. You can see it's got those cool little ridges, and it's got the little green flecks that I think are supposed to represent green onion, but who knows what it actually is. How does it taste?
I haven't tried it yet. I will say it smells actually better than what I remember of the American bugles, because American bugles...
eating bugles in the States.
You had a very different childhood than me.
I did, yeah.
But, they have that kind of pre-packaged, hydrogenated trans fat artificial
You're so
stuff
spoiled
smell.
Now with fresh foods. And
This doesn't have that.
I will say it has a satisfying crunch, at least initially. Mm-hmm. But after that, it kind of disappears to me. What do you think?
Yeah. And that's something we found a lot with the little crunchy snacks around here. I don't know if it's to make a greater profit margin or if it's a regional preference, but a lot of these crunchy snacks are very thin or puffed with a lot of air, so that as soon as you crunch into them, they'll resist as soon
as you get your tongue wrapped around it, a little saliva to help break it down, it dissolves pretty quickly.
Yeah.
I was trying to read to see what the primary ingredients are. This is another challenge of being here in the Balkans, because I have seen products labeled in as many as a dozen different languages, but that doesn't necessarily mean that one of them is going to be English. Okay, here in Albanian, it says, though, that, corn flour and sunflower oil, and then sugar is the third ingredient, even over salt. So do you taste sugar in there?
No, but I do know that sugar is used as such a major flavor enhancer.
Yeah.
Especially for anything that's creamy around here.
Yeah.
So.
Overall, it's not bad. Like, I would eat this whole little package. What do you think?
Yeah, I can see that. Depending on the flavor, like this, the sour cream, yeah. But just like the regular bugles in the United States, some I'd be willing to chow down on. Some it's like, I'll have a handful and then move on.
Yeah, like this would make a good party snack. You know, you pour out some in a platter and people can sample a few and then move on. Speaking of things that are both familiar and different, here's another brand that we've seen a lot throughout the Balkans. But this is oregano flavored potato chips.
Yep.
Now, this is one of the local brands, like I said, but even the major brands have oregano flavored in the potato chips that they produce here in the Balkan region. So this was kind of another surprise for us because oregano is not one of those flavors that you typically see.
We
in
first
the US.
saw it, ironically, most when we went. Well, I won't say ironic, but I guess appropriately most, considering our backgrounds, when we first went to Sicily. And I walked in, and there was oregano potato chips, and I was looking for sour cream and onion. And I was like,
yeah. And that was not it. But that was actually when we really started deciding that it would be fun to sample some of the local flavor combinations, because that's where we found those lime and pink peppercorn chips that we like so much.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to have a few favorites that we know are only available in particular regions, so that when we're passing through or when we decide to stop for a while, we can really enjoy those. So it definitely smells like oregano, right?
and it has a strong initial hit of oregano. Replays are one that they tend to hang around a little bit better than some of the other less expensive chips around here, which, like I said, they dissolve like tissue paper as soon as it hits your tongue.
Yeah, these stand up more than some of those that dissolve quickly, though.
They're not thick cut, but they've got something to them.
It's, an obviously kind of fried potato chip. It's got a nice crispy crunch. It's obviously not as sturdy as like the ridged potato chips, but this one does have a very strong oregano flavor, backed up because it's pretty salty. But I like that about it. It really enhances the oregano flavor. That's good.
Yeah.
This makes me want some pizza now. But I think that's because I like to mix oregano in the pizza crust, because you like that so much.
Yeah. And actually we when we make a tomato-based pizza sauce, we tend to include a lot of oregano.
That's
more than
true.
when we do it as a pasta sauce, even.
Definitely. So I'm cleansing my palate here. I'm getting flowers in my mouth with this beautiful blend of chamomile and strawberry tea. And it's got a lovely pink hue, but it literally does have a bunch of flowers floating on the surface. If you're curious about this and lots of the other amazing things that I'm actually cooking up from Whole Foods this spring, you can check out my latest Ayurvedic cooking for spring. And I will drop a link to that video series in the comments of this video. Alrighty, let's get to something a little more hearty. This is a new brand of something, Crash! But what stood out to me about the packaging when we walked into one of our local convenience stores was the flavor here for these coated potato chips. It's spicy chicken. And chicken is not one of those flavors that I tend to associate with flavored peanuts. How about you?
No, but also spicy is not something ironic. I keep using the word ironically. It's not ironic, but spicy is not something that we've come to find really applies to a lot of Balkan foods.
That's true. This is an area of the world where people tend to use a lot of fresh, seasonal ingredients, herbs that are growing in the garden, but not a lot of spice, and definitely not a lot of heat. So something spicy like this, I don't expect to actually be spicy. The smell is like peanuts. I mean, it's obviously got a coating on the outside, that's got a little bit of an orange tint to it, and it's dusted with some seasonings. What do you think?
There's some sort of flour that makes up most of the coating. And I'll say,
And there's actually a tiny little bit of heat there. I feel a little tingle on my tongue.
yeah, but I mean, you got to realize she's the one that can go through spicy food like it's going out of style. I'm the guy lying on the floor with tears coming from my eyes, wondering why this woman is torturing me.
Although your spice tolerance has expanded greatly since we first got married. You have
That's
to admit.
true. That's true.
He used to be blown away by a fresh grind of black pepper. So we have expanded your palate.
Yes. But my point is that I've had spice in, well, now it's at least 4 continents now. No, wait a minute. Yeah, 4 continents. And this doesn't even qualify as spicy to me. It qualifies as, yes, it's on my tongue.
It's flavorful, though, in a spicy way. It's not the kind of spice that's going to blow your head off, but it's enough. Like I said, I feel a touch of tingle on my tongue that lets you know that it's there. I cracked through just the little bit of a shell, so that I don't know how well you can see this, but this little bit of the coating is what is over the actual peanut on the inside. So the peanut by itself is just a boring old peanut. All of the salt, all of the flavor is in the coating on the outside. And honestly, while I get that little tingle of a spice and I get salt, I'm not really getting chicken. Are you?
No, I'm not getting any chicken. I didn't even get that much salt. But then again, I just came from the gym about an hour and some change ago. And yeah, I'm obviously salt deprived right now. So
Okay, the packaging here says hot, and it's got flames on it. Regionally, again, because of the way we know traditional cooking happens around here, it would probably be considered hot in the region. For somebody like me, who snacks on jalapenos, it's barely registering. And I know for you, if it's not saying hot to you, it's just kind of mild.
mean, for a snack food, I think of hot as being, for example, in Australia or in Japan, you could get wasabi peanuts or wasabi peas. And for me, it was always one of those where if I had some sinus congestion, get a good handful of wasabi peanuts, toss them back, cleared things
but
right out.
Wasabi is one of those kinds of heat that really travels up the nasal passages and it really gets into your sinus cavity. This is a little bit of a tongue tingling kind of heat. It never even really gets to the back of your throat.
Other than like the side edge of the right edge of my tongue, I don't feel anything.
Okay. So, a decent snack, nice crunch, not hot.
Yeah. Honest, I'm not a big fan of these coated peanuts in this style anyway. If I'm going to get a peanut around here, I prefer they sell them in 1 kilo bags of vacuum packed, already shelled, nicely salted.
Just plain peanuts,
Then, found a peanut and go to town.
See, now, what I like about this is they do have a nice solid crunch. And I was most curious about this chicken flavor because it said it was spicy. But honestly, the cheese-flavored ones and what was the other one that was like chili flavored that had, to me, a little bit more heat that registered, that was a little bit better.
Chili one did have a little bit more heat,
All right. Little palate cleansing sip, and then we'll go on to the next snack. Oh, that's good.
For those of you wondering, yes, this is a former pickle jar because finding what I consider an appropriate sized drinking vessel that isn't plastic is
That's true.
difficult.
We like to actually drink out of glass or ceramic, and only the plastic cups are the ones that are anything other than like literally a single measuring cup.
So
cup.
if you're drinking, say, about 150 milliliters for those of you who are going metric, or 200 milliliters, you can find stuff like that. But if you want a half liter, 20 ounces of fluid.
Yeah, which is why we
what I want
repurpose the
when I want
jars.
water.
All right, our next sample snack here, we're going back to the potato chips in crinkle form. So again, we're looking at a sturdier chip, and this is ketchup. And David mentioned the patos before. This, it says patatos, but it says down here it's powered by patos. So I guess it's packaged by the same company. What drew my attention, though, was this down here at the bottom. Can you see where it says premium ketchup taste? So we know, based on actually sampling a variety of different ketchups around the world, that our palates have been so dominated by that one dominant brand in the United States that if it doesn't taste like that, it really kind of doesn't taste like ketchup to us.
Yeah.
But let's see.
I won't say what brand it is, but they happen to have, say, about 57 or so varieties, if you know who I'm talking about.
It smells like ketchup to me, though. Stick your nose in there.
Yeah, it definitely smells like ketchup. It smells sweet, so it smells like a bulky ketchup.
It does. It definitely smells sweet. And let's see. Oh, look at this. We've got ingredient labeling in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, at least 9 or 10 languages, but one of them is English. Wow. It tastes like ketchup to me.
It does, but again, to me, it hits like the Balkan ketchups, the Mexican ketchups that are very, very tomato and sugar based, without
Definitely.
the spice, without the herbs or saltiness of the famous American brand that we're thinking of.
But I think it does really taste a lot like that famous brand. In fact, as I'm reading the ingredient list here, potatoes, vegetable oil, the third ingredient says ketchup flavor, and the first ingredient in the ketchup flavoring is sugar. That doesn't get much more American than that, right?
No, but like I said, it's the balance is just, it's leaning on the sweet side for me.
These are distinctly orange. They've got nice ridges, and you can see that orange coloring, it really coats the whole chip. Mm-hmm. It's not just a light dusting. It's really in there, and it permeates. And if I wanted that ketchup-y kind of flavor, but with a crunch instead of, like soft, like, for me, I'm the type of person that if I have French fries, it's not complete without ketchup. You need to have them dipped in something. Or barbecue sauce. Barbecue sauce is a close second. This is that ketchup flavor really packed in a potato chip. I like these.
Okay.
Want any more?
No, thank you.
I guess I like them more than he does. All right. We've been talking about crunch. And so, I saved the one with the strongest crunch for last. This one is Cracks. And I love the name of these. But I also love the shape and the style of these. This is another one of those that we saw some of the, I think it was the same brand in Macedonia as well. But it's available in lots of different flavors. There's only one of our little local convenience shops here that was carrying this particular flavor, which is lime and chili. But our local supermarket had them in like cheese and black pepper, mixed pepper, some other just basic flavors. But what I like about this particular one, I've had these before, so this is not a first tasting. These ones are really sturdy, stand-up crunch. And I want to zoom in here so you can see, like, it has little, I can't think of what to call them other than like cheese-looking crumbs. And it does have the kind of umami, cheesy sort of flavor that makes these feel like they should be cheesy. But it's like on top of the pretzel stick configuration, we have the added crunch and the added flavor that's brought on with this extra dusting here. And in this particular one, it's supposed to be lime and chili. What do you think? It smells citrusy to me. What do you think?
The smell is right, and just on the back end, I'm getting a little bit of the citrus that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. But once again, the chili is so muted that
it does say chili, and the chili peppers here, like they look like little small red chilies, like they could be bird's eye chilies or something with a lot of capsaicin. But just like the other hot and spicy chicken flavored coated peanuts, this isn't even something that's registering as a tingle. on my tongue in terms of heat. It does have a nice flavor, though, to me, which is what I like about these.
When I took the second half of mine and shoved it in my mouth and bit down, I did get a hint of a tingle, but it's not even a spicy tingle. It's more like the closest I could say is like when you get some good salt and vinegar potato chips and you stick the chip in your mouth and your tongue just kind of does that little vinegar contraction.
It's mouth-watering.
Yeah.
It definitely has... Maybe there's some added citric acid or something on this.
Maybe.
I don't know, because the labeling here is not in English. I've got Albanian and Bosnian. Yeah, my reading of Bosnian is not great. But the Albanian, it's quick to note that it's a flour-containing product. So there's gluten in the flour, which is the primary ingredient. And then some other extruded flours. Bulgur flour, sugar, cornstarch.
Yeah.
What I like about these, though, like I said, it's more than just the flavor, which is kind of a mouth-watering flavor. But to me, it has the most satisfying crunch of all of the different snacks that we've tried so far. I feel like what this really needs is some nacho cheese sauce to dip it into, and then it would be perfect. You disagree?
I guess if you're going for the since you're thinking lime and chili, you know, keeping it in the Latin flavors, in the Mesoamerican flavors.
It wouldn't even have to be a Latin flavor, but I really want cheese to dip this into. I feel like there's a creaminess aspect, and the textural nature of that combined with dipping this, I think it would make it even more satisfying.
Okay, I can see that.
You want any more?
No, thank you.
Okay. So that's it for the savory snacks. Let's skip on to something sweet.
Because, of course, no snack for Karen is complete without a little bit of sweetness.
All right. This is one that I picked up when we first moved into our apartment here, before we had enough equipment for me to actually bake a cake or cookies or anything like that. And it's labeled as a sweet souffle. Now, I know I'm already on record here as being a chocolate lover, and the picture here looks like a dark chocolate lava cake. Now, as gorgeous and inviting as this picture is, I know better. I've spent too many years on this planet not to expect that I'm actually going to get a lava cake here. But before I could take the time to actually make my own lava cake, I figured, what could it hurt to grab this quick little snack from the convenience store when I really wanted chocolate cake and I didn't have the tools and equipment yet in my kitchen to make it myself. So, open out the package, and what's the first thing that you think of when you see this?
Honestly, it looks like, well, what I was going to compare it to when I think of the flavor, and they make one as well, it looks like a Little Debbie snack cake.
See, I wasn't going to go with that brand. I was thinking that it looks like a Ding Dong.
Okay. Still, it's pretty much your standard.
Look at this. This is a great pull right here. Can you see that there really is a soft, oozy chocolate on the inside?
Well, it's not so much oozy, guys, as when you look at it this close, you realize that ooze is more of a gelatinous chocolate.
Okay. Still made for a great pull.
Uh-huh.
All right. As with most commercial chocolate products, the chocolate coating on the outside is more waxy than rich.
Mm-hmm.
And the sponge on the inside, I don't know how clearly you'll be able to see that. It really does look like a sponge. It's textured. It's got some porous holes in there. It's got decent chocolate flavor between the coating, the cake, and the filling.
I think that's
it's
one
darker
thing,
than most.
I was going to say, that's one thing that I think the Balkan brands tend to hit better.
I think that's the saving grace for me. The chocolate is bitter enough that it tastes more like a dark than a milk chocolate.
Yeah. A lot of what you're going to find, if you're trying to compare this to an American, convenience store chocolate cake, those tend to be, you know, that high, hard sugar hit with a very milky texture to the whole chocolate side of it. This is not going to be that. You're going to get a waxier chocolate. I guess that's whatever emulsified fats they use. This is not health food.
It's also the trans fats, though, that they use to give it that solid kind of chocolate shell.
Right.
Coated. That's really what it is.
But they counteract it with more of a cocoa hit.
Yeah, it's like more of the bitterness of actual cocoa. And even in that creamy texture in the middle, it still had more of a darker kind of chocolate flavor, which I personally prefer, so I found that extra satisfying. What do you think?
I think it's one of those things where, at least for me here in the Balkans, I like having the ability to run the gamut. And these and another brand that I always laugh because I love the name of it. They're called Pop Cakes. You know, to me, they hit that softer milk chocolatey side without going so into the milk side that it feels like I'm just having brown. You know, just...
Those are so light.
There's no chocolate.
I don't even think I've tried them. I've seen them, but I don't think I've actually tasted that one.
Yeah. But the Pop Cakes and these, you know, they have just enough of that chocolate flavor that you're like, okay, it's milk chocolate. They can call it dark chocolate at that level, and it's not. It's milk chocolate. But then when you go to the grocery store and you get, you know, chocolate, to me, what is most common around here is either super milky or something more like a Hershey's dark chocolate, and then they got the stuff that just is going to hit you with the cocoa.
Yeah, that's where I'm really thankful to be back in Europe, where it's really easy to find 60, 70, 80% cocoa in the chocolate bars that I use and break down, because that's what I like to chop up or break up when I'm making things like double dark chocolate chunk cookies. Oh. It's time to make some cookies, isn't it?
That's why I bought some chocolate bars earlier today.
All right, the last thing that we're going to sample here today, and this part is even a surprise for my husband, comes to us courtesy of my friend Shayna in the U.S. Now, as I said, I am a long time avowed chocolate lover, and I have made no bones about the fact that I prefer dark chocolate over milk chocolate. Mm-hmm. In fact, the last time I was out visiting friends and family in Southern California, Shayna and I got together and we visited a chocolate shop where we sampled a variety of truffles, and we deepened our lifelong friendship over lots of extra dark chocolate. And Shayna and I have known each other since we were literally in elementary school. So when I say deepen the bonds, you know, I'm talking deepen the bonds, and it can only get deeper over chocolate, right? Anyway, she posted something recently that really took me aback. And that was because she had done a sample tasting of something where the results that she shared had to be completely the opposite of what I would have ever expected. And so I questioned it, and knowing that I was not going to be able to find this particular pairing of products here in the Balkans, Shayna sent them to me. So thank you very much, Shayna. What we have here now are some Reese's Thins. And this is the regular version of Reese's peanut butter cups, but these are thinner, and this is milk chocolate and peanut butter. I know it's not the dark chocolate, but where we really got into the tussle here was one she was comparing it to, which is this one, and it's white Reese's. Now, I'm sure I'm already on record throughout the couple hundred videos here on this YouTube channel. I'm sure I've said it more than once, but I'm not a huge fan of white chocolate. In fact, I don't even like to call it chocolate, because although it does combine the cocoa butter in the mixture there isn't any actual chocolate in it. So I don't even like to say it's chocolate. It's like chocolate adjacent or whatever. But when Shayna tasted these, she said she thought this one actually tasted better than this one. And I couldn't possibly believe that's what I said, right? That's like fighting words. So she thought it was important enough that I taste it. So you ready to taste it and we can see for ourselves?
All right. I'm holding your lifelong friendship responsible for if this is a disaster.
There you go.
Now, this is tinier than I thought.
It is, but they're thins. It's supposed to be. It says, in fact, the packaging says it's sized for delight. I don't know about that. Personally, my little hippie heart is going 100 miles an hour here at all of this extra plastic packaging, which I thought we got away from when we left Japan. But it is what it is. All right. So I'm going to taste the milk chocolate ones first. And I have to say, too, it has been a long time since I've even tasted Reese's. We've been outside of the U.S. for quite some time, and I know that's been more your thing than mine lately. Like I said, I've been really enjoying all of these dark European chocolates. I'm talking about like 60, 70, 80% chocolate. What do you think?
This hit exactly like I was expecting. It's got that, just like I was talking about earlier, you put the chocolate in your mouth, and as soon as it starts to dissolve, it just turns into a brown cream.
This is nostalgic, though.
I was always a fan, though, more of the peanut butter than the chocolate, which is why, for example, I first saw them in Japan, and then when we had a visit back to the United States, I went a little overboard, folks. I'm not going to say that but me and the Hershey's Big Cup kind of we had a little bit of a,
Yeah, I didn't want to get involved in that. But yeah, even the last time we were back in the States, I wasn't that interested in all of these things, honestly.
Yeah.
But this was like, for me, this was the height of like the best kind of Halloween chocolate. When you went trick-or-treating, the best of the Halloween treats were chocolate. And the best of the best were these little individually wrapped Reese's cups. And that's what I'm getting here as I taste this. Now, just think about your experience with that. Don't say anything yet. I don't want you to interfere with my experience of the white one. To their credit, it doesn't say white chocolate. It says white cream and peanut butter down here on the packaging.
But yeah, for the Reese's, the brown one, the regular milk chocolate Reese's Thin, I'm just one of those folks who I prefer more peanut butter than the chocolate. So if you gave me, just this, like honkin' wedge of Reese's peanut butter about this big, and then just kind of, dipped it in the chocolate, I'm a happy man.
Well, and I think that explains a lot, too, why we enjoy making our own peanut butter these days, too.
True.
Because we can adjust both the salt and the sugar levels. We can really add, like, honey when we want that true honey roasted kind of peanut flavor.
Yep.
We can adjust for the texture.
Yep.
Yeah, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, I know I made peanut butter and was grinding peanuts for one of our cookie series, which we started back in 2020. I want to say, with the 12 days of cookies around Christmas time.
Yeah, because you did that, right after the bread
We
series.
made so many cookies. And there were definitely candied nuts, other types of candy, like candied ginger peel, or candied ginger, candied peel, and definitely some peanut butter, too, because we made peanut butter cookies.
Yes, we did.
So I'll have to see if I can link that in this video as well. All right, moment of truth here.
And I will tell you guys, as she's sampling that, if you are a peanut butter lover like I am, okay, I understand you might have that nostalgic feeling from your childhood of a certain brand. Might have a fictional character on it, might have a pirate on it, might have whatever,
Stripes
I don't care.
Stripes on the jar.
Yeah, might have some stripes or, take the time. At least once, okay? Get some really good, just plain old salted peanuts. Roasted salted peanuts, okay? Dump them in a food processor. And by the way, use a food processor that's got some oomph to it. If you got the little food processor that was $10 at on the Christmas sale
It's
at
still
Walmart,
possible to do it.
don't be willing to just like possibly burn out the food processor.
No, you don't have to burn out the motor, but that's one of the techniques that I talked about when I was making it.
Okay.
So.
But make your own peanut butter at least once. Okay.
I think that's the biggest reason why I haven't gone back to the Reese's well, because once we started making peanut butter, and you remember I made those peanut butter cups with the dark chocolate, and that
they didn't come out as cups. They more just kind of came out with, they were a little blobby, but
when we had the shape of the cups that were actually in the paper, with that cup shape, and there was a clear delineation of the layers. It's been a while.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah,
but
that was good.
When you have real dark chocolate and homemade peanut butter and... Okay. I delayed long enough. I sampled. I thought I might take one bite of this and just chuck it over my shoulder and just be like, ew, no, this is gross. But I have to say, this is surprisingly way better than I expected it to be. Like, I don't know that I would say it's better than the milk chocolate, but I might go so far as to say they're about the same in terms of, it's got a level of sweetness that really, I think, harkens back to what you like about these things, the sweet peanut butter. Usually one of the things I don't like about white chocolate is that it's like sickeningly sweet, like tooth-achingly sweet. But the sweetness works here. And the texture of it is such that it still has that kind of chocolate-like melting in the mouth.
Yeah.
And the combination of the two, with the peanut butter and this white cream, like they're calling it, it works.
And I think the reason it works is because, you know what, Reese's, you can be mad at me all you want, but let's be honest. What you guys make, what they make, doesn't have an intense chocolate flavor.
That's true.
Never has. The Reese's peanut butter cup...
You think that's why they don't make, like, dark chocolate ones?
I think actually, no, I'll say I have seen dark chocolate ones, but even then, the chocolate is more of a way for them to sell their peanut butter.
It is. It's a peanut butter delivery system.
And
a sweet peanut butter. It's a very distinct kind of peanut butter.
Right. It's a very distinct peanut butter. They sell it in jars now, back in the States.
That's true.
And it's one of those where, in this case, the white chocolate or the white cream, whatever you want to call it complements the peanut butter in a different way from the normal brown coating. Mm-hmm. It has a bit of a caramel undertone that I thought when I had mine, so that it was Reese's peanut butter with a caramel undertone, and only at the end did I get that what I normally get with white chocolate, what I associate as a vanilla flavor, which I don't like with the intensity of white chocolate. But this one was more caramel and peanut butter.
Like I said, I think for me it's the match of sweetness, the pairing of the sweetness of the white cream with the sweetness of their special kind of peanut butter. Like, I don't think it would work the same way with our homemade peanut butter.
Oh no, definitely not.
This isn't something I would want to make, because I think it would have too big a contrast between that, like I said, almost sickeningly, tooth-achingly sweet kind of white chocolate, and salty, savory peanut butter.
Right.
But for some reason, this works. And so I want to thank you, Shayna, for taking the time and the effort. I know it's extra time, especially coming this direction, to send us this amazing gift and to really encourage me to do what I'm telling you guys to do all the time, which is question everything and get creative and bold enough to really play with your food. This has been our snack tasting from Albania, and I don't know when we might get around to doing this again. Who knows, depending on where we pick up and move to next. Maybe we'll be in a different region of Europe, or just in a different country where we find some of the same brands and maybe some new to us flavors in some of these snacks, or maybe we'll find some more potato chips or snacks that call themselves hot, and we can rate them on our different scale and see just how hot they really are.
I look forward to it.
All right. Thank you guys so much for joining us for this snack tasting video, and we will see you next time.
Take care, guys.